welcome to another edition of Trade Talk TV. Today we've got Mathieu from Weborama in the office. Hello. Mathieu, thanks for coming in. And for those who don't know about Weborama, Mathieu, just give us a little overview of what you guys do.
So Weborama is a data company. We enable our clients through data solutions, technology platforms, services. We enable them to drive their media investments using data, basically.
Okay. So you did a recent case study with McKinsey for a client in France, a telecoms company, and you took a sort of a unique data strategy around that client. So today we were going to talk about that, talk about the case study and how you actually put that in practice. So could you just map out how you had this McKinsey client and what process you took?
Yeah, so McKinsey was interested in working with us to demonstrate the benefits of big data for marketing purposes, right? So they came to us and we went to a common client, one of the largest telco advertisers, who was interested in understanding what type of population are buying what product and how they can optimize their budget allocation towards certain types of population. And obviously for us, it was a great way to demonstrate the benefits of data because we hear now and then that data doesn't work. Well, actually it does, it just depends how you use it.
Yeah. So let's map it out here. Yeah. Let's have a look and see how you did it.
So first we built a data pool. So we used the three main components of the Weborama platform, which is a campaign, what we call Weborama Campaign Manager, which is a campaign management, ad serving, tracking tool, which is basically first-party data creation platform, right? Because all of the clients' contact points with their audience are stored into this platform. Then we used the Weborama database, which is a repository, a database where we store profile information on users. So we've got about 110 million unique users across Europe, where we have profile information, so demographics, interest, intent, behavior, stored in a database. And the third part of the platform is Audience Manager, which is a DMP, which is basically where all the data comes together and where it is monitored, managed by the client, and synchronized, made available with the with inventory. So you've got the creation here, the enrichment here, and the management and the distribution part here. Okay. So that's the infrastructure that we rolled out for this telco client to analyze their data. The data we analyzed was 2 billion data points coming from here. Right?
So it was all first-party data then, was it?
So that's about 2 months worth of ad impression, clicks, visits to the websites, conversions, basically, right? So that's what you have as first-party data source, and we combine that with 50 million user profiles coming from the Weborama database to understand who the audience of the client was from our standpoint, in terms of, again, demographics, intent, interests, behavior. Right. So that's our source of information. 2 billion data points qualified in terms of what event that was and what were the characteristics of the user who created this event, right? Once we got this, we try to understand how this population could be segmented, and that's where we come to the concept of segmentation tree. So let me wipe this up. So what you want to do when you segment a population for an optimization purpose is find how you can divide the population into meaningful groups, groups that differ from each other. Okay. So for that we used a statistical test called the chi-square test.
Chi-square test.
Chi-square test. For all of us, including me, who didn't do stats grad, but I got very well briefed by our data scientist, chi-square, which you can look on, I think it's on Wikipedia.
Wikipedia.
Chi-square, right?
Yeah.
Basically a chi-square test, you look at positive events, so let's call that conversions. Okay? Yes, no, right? Let's say you have 1,000 people in your population, 100 of them converted, 900 of them didn't convert, right? So you've got a 10% conversion conversion ratio. And let's consider gender as your variable, the criteria that you're going to test to see if it's meaningful or not.
Yeah.
Male, female, right? You've exposed 500 male, 500 female. If this is not a relevant segmentation criteria, you're going to have no variance, right? The performance on your male population is exactly the same as the performance in your female population. In this case, your chi-square test result will be negative, will be nil, not relevant, okay? However, if you have this, you've still got your 900 and 100, you still got your 500 and 500, but your distribution is like this. Here you have a massive variance versus the average.
Yeah.
And that's what the chi-square test measures, right? So we calculate the variance versus the average for all of the criteria, so all 200 profile values with 16 score on each profile value. And we look at how the user profile impacts their ability to convert, so their conversion over impression ratio, which is a very good measure of your ROI because that's basically the effective use of your media budget. Okay? So we apply this test to the population. We've got a number of users n, and we've got an index. It's the whole population, so it's 1. Okay? We apply the chi-square test, and it tells us that people who are interested in tablets, according to our profiles, the profiles that we have on the users, are only 25% of the population. So we have 75% of the population here that is not interested in tablets, right? So let's say no tablets. But here, your performance index goes up to 2.13, while here, your index is only 0.62. So if you target only those users, you will more than double your the performance of your campaign from an impression to conversion ratio. Okay? So that's your first segmentation. And then you do the same type of testing on this subpopulation. So all the users who have an interest in tablets or computer devices, let's test them again for variance versus the average. And you discover that, I think the second criteria is usage, right? So users who have a usage score under 12 versus users who have a usage score over 12, there's another significant variance between those two populations. And here we had, I think it was 10% and 15%, so that's this population divided in two groups. But here our performance index went up to 2.8, while it was only 1.6, I think, on this side.
So this kind of granular segmentations obviously resulted in higher conversion rates and higher sort of...
Well, no, it's only the analysis. It's only the analysis on historical data, right? But you can see that, and we did that for each product.
Yeah.
So there was 6 products, I think, in this telco's portfolio. So prepaid, smartphones, ADSL box, those type of things, right? We did that for each product, and we identified segments that would generate supposedly higher than average performance if they were targeted with this the relevant offers.
Yeah.
So then what we did is that we implemented this targeting strategy, and we verified along with McKinsey that the performance was actually delivered, and that resulted into the white paper. But it's interesting to see that you can go as far as you want. You know, there's no limit of data available, basically. You can go as far as you want, but you come up very quickly with a chart that looks like this. Right? So you've got your performance here. You've got your population here. And for 100% of your population, your performance is 1. If you want to increase your performance, you need to target less people, right? But the higher the performance, the lower the population. So it's always a question, to how much targeting do you actually want to apply until it becomes not so efficient anymore, because it's going to be micro-targeting to very, very small segments of users. Let's say you can go, I think some of the smaller branches of the tree would be like 20 times the average performance, but then you're into 0.7 something percent of your population. So you're going to be targeting like a few hundred or a
But
few
if this is
thousand
higher
people.
margin, higher margin products, so this is actually quite useful.
Yeah, the question is how much targeting do you want to implement,
Yeah.
and where is less a small scale becoming less efficient, and where you can go. So what we did is basically I think we took a first group at 2.5, which was about 20% of the population, and a second group at 1.8, which was 35% of the population, and we verified by targeting those population with the relevant product offering to verify that the performance uplift was there.
Okay. So you're actually applying the data and figuring out what the most optimal sort of optimization level is, effectively.
Exactly, yeah. And in the end, it's down to it's a client's decision, of course. But the client has the ability to move the needle to say, okay, well, actually, I'm fine with only 50% of my population, or with only like 1.2 or 20% uplift on my performance. If it enables me to optimize half of my budget, I'm happy. Or some other clients will say, no, I want to maximize the performance I can get, and I'm happy with running 20 different lines targeted to 20 different subgroups of clients, just to get that 3 times, 4 times, 5 times uplift in performance.
At least they have the data in front of them to make that informed decision.
Exactly.
Okay. And are we going to see? Sorry.
And they see that data, has to be manipulated, has to be analyzed to work. But once it's analyzed in a meaningful fashion, so the brief is relevant, the directions, what we're looking for is clear, then we can come up with meaningful results. It's not necessarily a plug and play solution as some people would believe. It's something that needed a bit of work, but when you do the work, you can come up with very, very exciting results like that.
Okay. Are we going to see more white papers from you guys around this?
Hopefully, there's a number of clients that have asked us to look into this type of solutions lately. So we're working with different verticals, so finance, gaming, no, it's very exciting. I think it's a new way to look at data as well, and it goes beyond media optimization. It's interesting for this particular client to know that a certain type of population is better suited for a certain type of product, because when you look only at your end performance, you don't really care who's buying your product as long as they're buying it. But a lot of marketers actually care. They would like to know who's buying the product and how they can make have a better strategy to increase this as well.
All right, Matthew, thanks for giving us a deep dive into analytics. I look forward to more white papers from you guys. So thanks for coming in today. And that was Trader Talk TV. See you next week.